This place is so beautiful. It makes me want to die. 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 Die, 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 die. I need to start drinking.
When I tell you guys, I could not help myself in the edit.
That's a great edit. Good job.
God, Thomas, just every one of these, you just outdo yourself little by little.
I could not help myself. I heard the beats in their speaking, and I said, "This is it. This is gonna work." Hello, everyone. I'm your host today, Thomas Stoneham-Judge, leading conversation with the ForReel team on the latest movie releases. This week on ForReel, we're discussing I Know What You Did Last Summer, where nostalgia is overrated. I've got Derrick Murray here. I've got Marty Millman here. I've got Mitchell Davey here, and we've got a great show for you this week on ForReel. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get started. Team, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Was that enough energy? Is it early enough for you guys? Have I woken everyone up yet?
Listen, it's about the amount of energy that this film deserves. So
there's lots to talk about with this movie. I think I'm actually quite curious. Let's start with where everyone landed on the film, and I'm gonna start. I was amused by how little I cared about this movie, and so that's where I'm at. Derrick, what about you?
Listen, we come to this place for magic, and that is the energy this movie should have had, and it just didn't. So yeah, I would like to change the title to "I Don't Care What You Did Last Summer."
That would be an interesting title, and honestly, it might get more people into the theater. Mitchell, how about you? Where'd you land? Just generally speaking.
Yeah, generally speaking, I went to this one and I did not actually see the originals before seeing it. In fact, I wasn't supposed to see this last night. It just happened by happenstance. My friend was like, "Come to I Know What You Did Last Summer." I'm like, "Don't know what it is, but okay." And I gotta say, this made me want to watch the original film to see what I'm missing out on, because I have a feeling I'm missing out on a lot, because this was just not it for me. But
I think we'll talk about that. The comparison to the original one is a very interesting discussion. Marty, did you come out a little bit more positive on this one than we did?
No, it was fluffy in a boots. Like, I realized I'd only seen the original once, and anytime they were talking about the original, I was like, I'm thinking of Scary Movie. I'm literally thinking of Scary Movie. And Scary Movie did I Know What You Did Last Summer better than I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I was just like, let's just get Anna Faris back and have her doing whatever. Like,
yes, maybe this is a call to get more scary movies back in theaters. Yeah, so let's talk about the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. Mitchell, we'll fill you in here. I rewatched it this week because I'd seen it a long time ago, before I was really into film and really cared about actually analyzing these things. And so I went and rewatched it before this one. And man, I underwhelmed, I guess it's such a classic. I think, like, in my head, it's kind of like earned this like classic horror film status, and maybe you can still consider it that, but I rewatched it and I'm just like, oh, this is not great. Maybe by 1997 standards. I mean, I think it's aware that it's, really living in the shadow of Scream and kind of embracing that. But yeah, I didn't care for it, and I was like, I wonder what they would do with the new one to kind of reinvigorate this concept. And then I watched the new one and thought, actually, the original one isn't that bad. So Marty, tell me a little bit more about your experience with the original I Know What You Did Last Summer.
The original I had only seen once, and I just watched the second one where they go to the Bahamas, which was dog shit, like literally so bad. The only redeeming part of that one was Brandy was in it. And
Brandy, that's literally the only reason I remember having seen that movie.
And don't forget Jack Black with dreadlocks. Jack Black with dreadlocks.
Yeah, that was
fire.
I'm trying to block that out of my mind. But literally, this cast, the only one I knew was Chase Sue Wonders, and I love her. I loved her in Generation. She did great, and the studio that just got nominated for all those Emmys, and I was like, okay, I'll go in this for her, and she really was the only redeeming quality for me, and the rest of it, I was like, I guess I'm here, you know.
And Derrick, you want to shine a little light on your experience with the original one?
I think there is a I think you really they say this in the film, right? Nostalgia's overrated, and I don't think they actually mean what they say, because so much of this new one is trying to be this nostalgia cash grab that just doesn't work. Like, they're trying to revere a nostalgia that, if I'm being honest, having watched the original, kind of doesn't exist, because the original's not good. Mitchell, I'll tell you, like, you are not missing out on all that much. Like, it is, there's no gaps here. And I think we look back fondly on it because it did release within that shadow of Scream, and we hold Scream in such high regard. But Thomas, you and I were kind of talking about it. We're like, Scream set a new precedent for what slasher horror could be, right? By kind of turning the finger back on itself, making fun of all of its tropes, and then subverting them. It's got a very Hitchcockian type of style of filmmaking, and it literally reinvented the way that we interpret and watch slasher horror. But then it spawned this whole genre of what I call junk horror, and some are better than others. And I think we like to maintain this idea that I Know What You Did Last Summer is like as good, it's on the same level as Scream, but it's really just proximity. It's not even close to. It just happened to be the first one to come out after that, and I don't think
He's her ugly little cousin. Ugly
right?
little
Like,
cousin.
yes.
Yeah. Really
And it's just not as
it.
good. It's I likened it to, like, the original is basically a golden trash bag meme, where, like, it's still trash, it's just in a nicer bag than the rest of them. Like, that's it. That's what it is. Once I took off those rose-colored glasses, I was like, ooh, yeah, this original is not good. There's a reason I haven't watched it again in like 30 years.
Mitchell, have we sold you on going back to watch the original? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just have words of encouragement echoing around here. But yeah.
I think I want to start with the setup of the story. So in the original, I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's these teens, it's the 4th of July. I actually forgot how 4th of July the original I Know What You Did Last Summer is. That's a 4th of July holiday film, really. But in the original, it's these teens, they're are these young adults, they're driving, and it's 4th of July. The driver isn't drinking, but someone in the car is, played by Ryan Felipe. And he's kind of being disruptive and everything. And because of the distraction, they end up hitting someone on the cliffside or whatever. And that's how they're implicated with the death of this person who is kind of still alive when they decide they want to get rid of the evidence. In this one, they're standing in the road and the car swerves and falls off the cliff, and now they think they're legally responsible, and create this whole cover story and this whole elaborate thing that says that they're in trouble for this. Can someone talk to me about how you felt when this setup unraveled? Mitchell, let's get some words from you. What did you think about this setup?
Yeah, well, as someone who didn't know how the original film started or progressed, I didn't know how this was going to begin. I purposely didn't ask my friend who was a fan of the series, like, what is the setup of this? Because I wanted to know what their take on it was. It was surprising. I thought it was going to be more, as someone who's not familiar with the series, more like the ghost comes back to haunt them and kill them. I thought it was going to be more supernatural based. I thought it was like a supernatural kind of slasher. But I thought it was an interesting setup. Can't say that the logic or reasoning behind it makes much sense in terms of physics, but we won't get into that because some people just like to suspend their disbelief. I understand that. But it was kind of jarring to me. It was a pretty interesting scene overall. And I'm interested to hear from people like Derrick and Marty who might have more familiarity with the series. How did that expectation kind of live up to this opening for you?
Yeah. Who wants to go on that one?
I'll go. So the first one, I always think is stupid because like
Yeah.
this guy's walking in the middle of the road and gets
Mhm.
hit. It's like he's kind of asking for it, in my opinion. Like, why are you walking on this windy, dim lit road in the middle of the road? You know, he
Absolutely.
was asking for it. And then this guy who swerves also kind of asking for it. Why are you speeding on this windy road late on a dark night? Like both times, I'm just kind of like, you were asked, not like you were asking
You
to
you
get
put
it.
yourself in the situation, right? There is some culpability on the victim's part.
I do like the slight update to it. So it's like they didn't actually commit a crime this time, but now they're covering something up. But it's like they did call the police. So like I think they like wiped their hands of it and really like it is like not their responsibility anymore. Yeah, if the guy wasn't in the street, the guy would not have swerved. But if he wasn't speeding, would he need to swerve? Like just all these like they're making it too convoluted of like, are they really at fault or is it the driver's fault? And then even in the last act, when you find out like who the driver is and the reason they're on the road to begin with, it's like, okay, then why were they speeding? You know? So they just make you angrier for having to think about it. And like, I don't know, I don't want to get in my feelings about like, is this setup good? You know? Like it should just be able to happen and you're like, okay, you shouldn't be like thinking about it or getting angry over it, you know?
Which
So
is pretty much what I did because I recently watched the first setup and you can actually argue like whose fault it might have been, but when you look at this one, yeah, they're standing in the road, but like again, speeding, you brought that point up, but also they tried to help him. Like it wasn't like they pushed the truck off the cliff. They tried to help him. They're trying to get him out. They're doing their best, and then like you mentioned, they call the cops. So like I don't feel guilty about this. Like,
they
it's
did
an
all they can
accident.
do.
I would not build a whole movie around this premise. Derek, what did you think?
No, I completely agree. And for Mitchell too, like the first setup isn't any better. Like there's my struggle with this has always been that I Know What You Did Last Summer, the first one and this one, like this is a short story. Like this is a short film, right? Like this is not a feature length. This is not a feature film. This has no business being a franchise. And some of that contrivance when it comes to how they're trying to set this up, it's just, I'm all down for suspending belief. And personally, I actually think having the Ghost of Christmas Past come back to haunt them is a better, even more logical premise than what we actually end up getting. Like, I believe ghosts are coming back more than I believe any of these people actually have a dark secret. And that was my issue when I rewatched the first one, and it's even more egregious in this one, is that not only is this not that dark of a secret and it doesn't really warrant a movie, but also no one, absolutely no one in this film deserves the deaths that they get. Not a single person deserves to die for this event. I don't care what kind of connection you're trying to create. I don't care how you're trying to reinvent the story. Like, there is not a single person in this movie that deserves to be hung by their limbs on a fishing dock with hooks. Like that, no one deserves this. And it just gets more and more frustrating because they add so many goddamn characters in this movie just to add to a kill count for something that doesn't need to be murder. Like, what did you do? You called the cop. You should have heard Thomas and I last night. We were having this conversation and we were straight up screaming at each other. I'm like, they called the cops. I'm pretty sure my neighbors called the cops on me. But to your guys' point, to like Marty and Mitchell, to your guys' point, like they did all they could do. What is the secret? I don't understand. It's so it's super contrived, and it just made for a very frustrating watch.
Contrived is the right word, and I think I would love to have conversations with the writers because this one does the similar thing that the first one does, where it goes out of its way to avoid drinking and driving being the reason, and I don't understand why. Maybe in 97, I don't know, maybe it was a really taboo subject and that's kind of hard to play with, I guess. I don't know. But like in this new version, like that is the perfect reason that they are entirely responsible for this, is that, you know, they're partying on 4th of July. It's a holiday. It makes sense that they might be drinking and driving. And this is a perfect kind of PSA on why you don't do that. How is that not the setup? I would feel so much more justified. Like Derek saying, nobody here deserves these deaths. You all did the right thing as far as you could. I don't get what the secrets are. And then everyone starts dying, and you know, it really is a poor excuse for kill count. But and I guess I just get really frustrated because you had a great excuse. You have a really, really good excuse that neither movie really wants to go into for some reason. And I never understood that. So
I feel like it's because they're trying to make the characters still likable and rootable, you know, because like in Scream, like you are rooting for the characters to survive the deaths. They're smart, they're witty, they're cool kids, you know. And that's the thing with the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, is all the characters, I don't know, personally I could care less about. Like literally the only character I cared about in the first one was Hewitt, and then this one it's Wonders, you know. So it's like when you make only your lead the only interesting person in the friend group, it's like I don't really care that the other people are dying, especially when only 2 of the deaths are interesting and neither of them were any members of the friend group.
That's true.
Yeah, the way they front load the gnarly kills against people that like we just met, and then it just gets more and more streamlined and more basic as it goes along when you actually start killing people. That I was just like, why are we doing this? What yeah.
It's so funny because when the dispensable characters come on screen, it is so obvious that they are going to be dispensed of. Like I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can throw the spoiler alert up. Like this is going to be a spoiler conversation, but like the podcaster, as soon as she showed up, first of all, like I getting lucky in an airport bathroom, I just don't know about that. Okay. I don't want to talk to any strangers at the airport. So like just getting it on in the airport bathroom with someone you just met and then they happen to be going to the same place. There's only so much I can suspend my disbelief. Okay, guys. But as soon as the podcaster showed up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a dispensable character. They're trying to weave in this like true crime podcast thing because that's, you know, trendy. But yeah, you brought her here just to kill her. Like that's, you know, that's so obvious. And so anyway, we're on to the characters now. So let's talk about the new characters here. Does anybody, I mean, it's slim pickings, but does anybody have a favorite new character in this story?
I would say the only 2 like interesting characters were I don't remember the characters' names, but the actors' names. So Chase Sue Wonder, the lead, Ava, because like I don't know, she's the one who's trying to get away from these people in this friend group. She's the only one to seem to have a moral conscience. And then I don't know, the Gabrietta character, the podcaster, is like so different from her. So I don't know. I feel like the film would have been more interesting if like these 2 are over here investigating why all of her friends are getting murdered and the friends don't like her or something anymore. I just feel like there could have been a better, more interesting dynamic going on.
Yeah. Mitchell, do you have a favorite character here?
Tough to say because I didn't really feel attached or connected to any of them emotionally or just otherwise thematically. But if I had to kind of pick a performance that I liked, I did like Madeline Klein in a role like this. I really think she excelled at kind of like that horror girl-esque kind of role. I don't know if it's something I would like to see her pursue in future entries or future different horror movies, but it's something that was interesting for this adaptation specifically, and I think it really worked for her benefit.
Yeah, Derek, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd actually agree. I really like Madeline Klein here. I feel like she's kind of the only one that's dialed into what the movie should actually be. And everybody else, I think, is playing it a little too straight. And while I actually really like Sue Wonder, I think she's really good in this. I don't think the material is supporting such a straight-faced player. Whereas Madeline Klein, and some of that is just the way the character's baked, right? Madeline Klein just gets to have a lot more fun. and being a kind of ditzy socialite that doesn't really understand the surroundings. I think Klein does a really, really good job in doing that. I would agree with Mitchell that like I don't want her to get pigeonholed into that, because not only is that woman just like absolutely face serving every single time, like she is so stunning, it's not even fair. Like she is just, gods spent extra time on creating this woman. She is so goddamn gorgeous. But what I want from that is I want the talent that she's kind of displaying here. I want that to expand out, right? Like I want beautiful people to succeed sometimes, and I think she has a lot of talent, because I think she does pretty well here. So yeah, I'd probably give it to Klein, even though I don't really give a shit about what happens to her character in the movie. I do think she's having the most fun. And then I have to give a shout out, because it was the first line that I said, and I haven't laughed this hard in the theater in a very, very long time. But I got to give it up for Trevor. And I know he kind of gets like removed and set off to the side, but like he's the one, he also understands the assignment. And when he hit you with that, we come to this place for magic, I basically missed all the banter after that, because I was still laughing. Like that is easily one of the funniest lines and best line deliveries I have seen in a movie in a very long time. So I gotta give him some credit too.
I agree. In fact, I think Madeline Klein is so on point with what she's doing with her character here that it's actually quite out of place with everyone else, and that's so unfortunate, because she's on assignments. Like she knows what she's doing, she knows what movie she's in, and everyone else is just kind of maybe not, I don't know, it's hard to blame the actors. I don't think the material was great here, but yeah, Madeline Klein, I that was the energy this movie should have brought, and I was expecting a lot more self-awareness here. This isn't a legacy reboot that we were asking for. Nobody asked for this. I wish that we could have had fun with it. And something else, so we've talked about how it's like, it's lived in the shadow of Scream, which it still does. We still have Scream movies coming out that we are eager to go see, and then there's this that comes out in between. But I'm also getting vibes of like Final Destination, like movies that aren't even connected to this, but just embody the vibe so much better. And so I like Madeline Klein here. I was curious thoughts on Tyreek Withers, because we've got another horror movie coming out with him later on this year with Jordan Peele and him.
Is Tyreek Withers going to be in that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ooh, okay, sign me all the way up.
He's the lead, right?
He's the lead, yes.
Oh, sign me all the way
Which
up.
I didn't think about.
I like what he's doing here, so yeah, sign me all the way up. Hell yeah.
I think that there's something like I'm watching, or at least thinking back on his role in the film, and like trying to think like, okay, what would this look like in a Jordan Peele movie? And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts really quick on how you feel about Tyreek in this, with him coming up soon.
Well, I already said he has one of my favorite line readings, so I'm on board. So I'll let the other guys.
Any other thoughts on that?
I thought he was interesting in that first bit, but then when he is like this sad drug addict, like living on a boat and like can't handle himself, I'm just like, I don't know. I thought he was interesting in that first like 10 minutes of the movie, and then after that, I don't know. Don't know if it was the character or the material, but I just kind of like lost his performance. And so I'm interested to see what he does with a better script and produced by someone like Jordan Peele. And people are already calling it the Black Swan for boys. So I'm hoping that's able to live up to it,
Yes, please.
I'm here for it. Mitchell, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, kind of like what Marty said. I really did like the character in the first half of the movie, and then as it went on, he got so obnoxious and over the top that I was just like, you know what, not really my thing. The scene in the cemetery in particular, if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. That character was just very grating. I was like, okay, I don't care if this dude dies at this point. That would be like slasher rules. That's fine. But I do think his performance was pretty good. I think he really played the role well, even though I don't agree with a lot of the character choices made in the second half of the film. And I would really be interested. It's one of those performers that I'm interested to see like what he does going forward. Like we get the start of greatness here. I'm interested to see how it carries over to future projects. So I'll be seated to see him and his performance later on in the movie Him, coincidentally enough. But yeah.
I want to. I know we're probably going to talk about writing and directing, and so I'm going to segue into it just slightly. But it has more to do with these characters. As when I was doing my written review, I kind of discovered that Jennifer Caitlin Robinson is her name. So I discovered that she actually wrote and directed Do Revenge and Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, Thor: Love and Thunder, throw that whole shit in the trash. Like that's all of her worst tendencies, and obviously she didn't direct it, but garbage. But Do Revenge is that was one of my absolute favorite films from that year. Like I adored that movie. And once I was able to kind of put those pieces together and connect them, I started thinking where Robinson's strengths are characters that you can see operating in something like Do Revenge. And the only two people that can really do that, well, three actually, the only three people that I think could really cross over to her better work are Madeline Kahn, Tyrick Winters, and Sue Wonder. Those three characters, you can take their archetypes and just implant them into the better parts of what she does, like Do Revenge, which is clearly where that's the material Robinson should be living in. Like, if she wants to tackle full genres like that, that's the way that she needs to do it. And this movie limits her incredibly, even though she's a writer-director. But Madeline Klein, Tyrick Winter, like those guys, you can literally just import them into Do Revenge, and they fit. And that's right. That's why I think they're being so complimentary when we're talking about the characters, because they seem to be where Robinson is at her best, but they're just in the wrong movie. They should be in Do Revenge is what should happen.
Marty, is this something you agree with?
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer for Do Revenge a couple years ago, I was like, I don't know, man. But it just seemed to oh, this is a Netflix movie. Then I watched it and I was like, this is great writing. This is some of the first good, I would say close to Cruel Intentions type thing we're getting for Gen Z, And so I was like, I believe in this director. I believe in this writer, And so when I heard that she was doing this, and she was doing a lot of social media stuff on Twitter about a week before the movie dropped. So, and she was praising the person who did the score, which I'm also pretty sure was a woman. And so she's just yeah, it's a very female-led film. And so I was like, oh, I'm excited for it. Early reviews were coming out and they were also like, oh, this is amazing. It does the requel so much better than the Scream movies. And I was like, oh, wow. And so I kind of went into this with high expectations. I didn't really have much until about a couple days before I saw it, but I'm just seeing all this stuff online and was like, okay, wow, they're taking big swings and doing stuff that Scream is too scared to do. And then I'm watching, I'm like, these are the big swings. And I was so confused because she does have those moments in the writing, like the Nicole Kidman line and making fun of these podcaster. And she just, it's just too sparse, if you're going to be doing this horror comedy, lean into it more. You don't have to go full scary movie, but you can play more and make it a little bit more of a dark comedy than just a full slasher with these tiny little comedic elements.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Mitchell, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think she's a very strong writer, and that's evidenced in several key segments here. I have yet to see Do Revenge. I know that's a crime in the horror community. A lot of people have been screaming at me to watch it for a while, so I will definitely get around to that.
It's so
good. I have to see it. But yeah, I think her writing is hindered at key points throughout, but I just think the inability to really flesh out characters fully. And I think that's something that a lot of filmmakers and writers especially struggle with. But it's especially in a movie like this, it's noticeable where the characters are really the driving force behind the plot. You get to points and you're like, oh, wow, the writing's really just not that great for them and their circumstances. And I think that was what happened here. I think she really is a strong writer. I think that, going forward, I'd love to see more of her ideas on paper and in film. But yeah, there was just something about the execution here that really just left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting transition into the other half of the cast, I suppose, which is the legacy cast. So we have Freddie Prinze Jr. coming back. We have Jennifer Love Hewitt coming back. A little cameo from Sarah Michelle Gellar. And Derrick, we were talking about this, and I think that there's a one of two things needed to happen here, and that was either this is an entire handoff to a new cast and a new group of actors, or this is just a straight up, legacy sequel. And I think trying to mix the two lost any like thematic value that I had, because I was actually quite interested in the stories of these legacy characters, and like, I think there's some reckoning that had to happen with them, and like you could have told a really, really interesting story there, especially when you think about what happens in the mid-credit scene. For me, the mid-credit scene pitched a much better movie, and a movie that I would have been much more interested in than what this movie was. And it just seemed like there were competing objectives here. Marty, what did you think about the legacy cast's presence in this movie?
I feel like it was wasteful. After the is it okay if we're in spoiler territory?
Yep, we're in spoiler territory.
Okay.
Go for it.
So after the podcaster's death, when she's like, "It's you," I was like, "Thank you. I know how this movie is going to end." So I literally it was like that, like what, the 40-minute mark, and I was like,
Yep.
Okay, I know where this movie is heading, and it just started whoosh, the whole rest of the way. And what's his name? Michelle Gellar's husband.
Oh, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been the best actor. Great in Scooby-Doo, love Fred,
Love it, yeah.
But, anything else I've ever seen him in, wooden boards have more character, So I was like, they're really trying to give him a lot here. Like, they're really trying to give him a lot, and he just has nothing to do with the material. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt, I liked what she was doing. She's like, I've got one question for you. What did you do last summer? Like, she's having fun with it. What are you waiting for? She's bringing back the little bits, and it seems like she was having a good time. She's kind of Sidney Prescott in Scream 3, where she's like, I'm stepping away, but like, oh, shit's getting really serious. Okay, I'll come back and finish the job, And so I liked a little bit what they were doing with her character. I just kind of wish that his was toned down more and hers was turned up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't help but wonder how much like their acting schedules or like personal lives or whatever kind of got in the way. Because Sarah Michelle Gellar, her part clearly feels like I have other things to be doing. So if you could just like give me a little bit of a scene,
one dream sequence, please, just so I can come back.
Right. Mitchell, how did you feel about the legacy cast here?
Yeah, as someone who didn't have any recollection or knowledge of that beforehand, that was a fun surprise. The guy next to me, when Freddie Prinze Jr. appeared on screen, he acted like it was a Marvel cameo, and he was like shouting out. And I was like, "Yeah, you go, guy. Yeah." Even though I didn't really know what that meant, but I would definitely agree that Jennifer Love Hewitt is the best legacy character in this film by far. She's the one that actually acts like she's caring about the material. Freddie Prinze Jr. is a good character, but he acts it like he doesn't want to be there, and he doesn't have any involvement in the stakes. It just feels wooden, as Marty mentioned, and it just really comes across as kind of half effort. The Sarah Michelle Gellar scene, I can understand how people could say like, it's lazy and she just kind of showed up for one scene. But as someone who didn't have any recollection, I thought it was kind of fun to do that as a dream sequence rather than try to introduce her in any other way in a bigger role.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going off of pure vibes in the audience. Some people loved it. Some people were like, what's going on? But I kind of enjoyed that spin, but I understand that fans obviously have different varying opinions. So I'd love to hear what Derrick thought about some of those legacy characters.
Mm-hmm. Let's go, Derrick.
Yeah, so I'm gonna side with Marty on this one for sure. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt is probably the only one that only kind of understands the assignment. And to your point too, Thomas, I think her reconnecting with Brandy in the mid-credit scene or end-credit scene or whatever, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, why didn't we just get this movie? And that's my issue with this overall when it comes to the legacy characters. It's like, we don't need the requel, right? Like, just either make a sequel or reboot it. Just pick one or the other and then just write it out. Like, we don't need this combination of the two. And I think the way that they're brought back, I just don't really care for. So as much as I think Jennifer Love Hewitt is doing the best with what she's given, you do get somebody like Freddie Prinze where you're just like, bro, like just go yell at people on podcasts about Star Wars connectivity. Just, you know what I mean? Like go just live your nerd life with your hot wife. And it's like, we don't need you here, bro. We just don't. Like, I say that as somebody who actually really likes Freddie Prinze Jr., but as a performer, yes, he's uniquely terrible. And
uniquely
so,
terrible.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the Sarah Michelle Gellar thing was just like, I'm sure she was just on set and they were just like, hey, do you want to, I think we got the old costume in the back. You want to just throw it on and talk to Madeline Klein for a little bit? And then that's how she ended up in the movie. I don't know why she's here. Like, it just doesn't, it makes no sense. And then also, like, the character of Madeline Klein isn't important enough to warrant a nightmare dream sequence. Like, there's nothing about her that makes you care so much that we need to bring Sarah Michelle Gellar back because they're similar. Like, okay,
I feel like we were trying to push the, like, Madeline Klein is the Sarah Michelle Gellar and Chase Sue Wonders is the Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like, these are the two girls you're going to root for in the end. Like,
yeah, but it's not developed enough to where I don't care. Like, I just don't. And even Mitchell, whenever you watch the original, I get the sense that you're going to feel the same and just be like, yeah, no, this is dumb. This doesn't make any sense.
So illogical. Derrick, you've already given us your favorite part of the movie. I'm interested if anyone else has any scenes or sequences that they just like laughed out loud at, because I do. When the podcaster is trying to pull herself up that manual elevator, and the slasher is swinging his hook at her, and she's trying to get up, and it's a whole tussle, this really massive fight so that she can get away. She finally thwarts his efforts and starts getting up the elevator, and bro just takes the stairs. And I'm like, I literally laughed out loud so hard because I was like, that was so extra. You guys, that whole sequence just makes no sense when you can just like walk up the stairs. Were there any, Mitchell, did you have any parts where you just like laughed out loud at?
Oh, too many to name, honestly. But if I had to choose one, I would definitely say the hallway scene where I forget what his name is, Tyreek Withers, I think is the performer, who walks to switch off the light switch.
Oh, that's right.
Somehow doesn't see the figure standing in front of the statue, even though the depth perspective should probably alert you otherwise.
Or the fact that he's standing like right next to him. Like, at some point you have to recognize there's a statue and there's a figure.
Yeah. But that was the part where I was just like, all right, I see what we're doing now. I mean, it led to a fun little kill, but I mean, to get there, just a rough road. And I also did like the part at the end. I believe the line was something about like, they're talking at the picnic table and they say, this experience is just like terrible, like a 0 out of 10. I'm like, this plays about us, man. That's us, the audience. That's the worst thing. But
So true. Marty, any parts that you like laughed out loud at?
Like Mitchell said, too many to count. They did say diva like close to 30 times in this movie. I started doing a count. Like, I was like, okay, they've said diva a good amount. So I started counting, and it's literally close to 30 times. And I'm like, why are all these straight girls just saying diva all the time? And the kill of Chase Sue's ex-boyfriend, where they just like strangle him, I'm like, how much more interesting would it have been if she opened the curtains and is like trying to get out there, and you strangle him, throw him in the car. She's like, and it's okay. And like the whole like last, I would say like 15-20 minutes was just so random. We haven't eaten in days. Ooh, I'm so hungry. And it's like, oh, that girl's still alive. What? like that's what you're gonna end the movie? Like, what? Like, huh?
But it's also like, because to Mitchell's point, like I love that, but those are, again, I just keep that, now I have Do Revenge in my head, but like that's Do Revenge shit. Like them sitting at a picnic table having this random conversation and then just being like, oh, by the way, Stevie's still alive. And they're just like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, that's the energy that this whole movie should have had. And then it would have landed a lot harder. Like, we'd be laughing at it the right way. Because it definitely feels like the way that Mitchell is laughing at this is definitely not intentional. Like, that's not what it was trying to do. He's right, but that's the fault of the movie, not
I
him.
feel like if it was shot better too, like
Oh
some
my
of those
God.
scenes would make
Oh.
better sense. But like, yeah, the cinematography in this entire movie is just like I just, oh my God. There were so
editing,
many
dude.
times I'm watching and I'm like, there was a better way to block this. There was a
Yes.
better way to shoot this. Like, come on.
Yeah, the way this
Especially
movie
finding him in the
dude.
car, I was like, what? Like, there was just so many times I was like, why are you shooting this like that?
The way this movie is constructed is absolutely insane. Like, it is some of the most manic, nonsensical editing I have ever seen. Like, I try to give a lot of respect to editors because it's hard as hell to make a movie make sense. So, like, I give you a lot of grace, but what the fuck? Like, this is the most bizarrely edited film I have seen in a really long time.
But it's so hard because so much of the production is terrible. I'm flashing back to the opening, like leading up to the setup, where every line is trying to microsplain everything to you. I just was like face palming, like, guys, I'm not stupid, okay? Can you just talk? Can you stop making every line a delivery of history and some kind of like contextual clue? I don't need that like so frequently, like literally every line. It was a rough start to this movie. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are just gonna like, talk down to us about this whole like setup right now. Come on, we don't need all of this. Like, who's that over there? Oh, she went to high school with us. And oh, who are they? Yeah, they were at high school. Like, I just like, guys. we got it, okay? We're smart. We can piece things together. So like, you have the writing that is just not great for so many reasons. You have the filming of it with like, you could block it better, you could film it better. There's so many more interesting ways to do this. And then you have and then all that impacts the editing, and then of course the cast having these like mixed messages on what they're trying to deliver. Are you going to be serious? Are you going to be comedic? Are you going to have the do revenge scenes, or are you trying to actually like legitimately reboot this? Like, guys. I digress.
To Marty's point about the cinematography too, like it just looks bad, which is such a stark contrast. Because I'll give the original I Know What You Did Last Summer a lot of credit. It is the best looking piece of trash you've ever seen. Like,
it looks good. I remember thinking that. Like, wow.
Even 30 years later, like a movie this bad should not look this good, like at all. Like the lighting is impeccable. The cinematography is incredible for 97's trash horror. Like, I'm very excited to hear Mitchell's take whenever he actually is able to watch it and sit down and just like compare and contrast and be like, yeah, that looks a lot better. And we're 30 years past this, so like we should be able to film things better now, and it's regressed. It has absolutely regressed.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we've all kind of purged our frustrations. Mitchell, is there any ranting you'd like to do?
Not really, because it wasn't exactly what I expected, but I expected more at the same time, right? It's not what I really expected going in. I thought it was going to be more like supernatural based, something like, ghostly or like supernatural, like in how it was like the motive for the killings. But I just got like a revenge story that really didn't feel fleshed out or fully developed to the point where I actually cared about what was happening. I believe, is this movie rated R or is it PG-13? I forget.
I think it is rated R. It is rated R.
Because there was moments where I was like, wow, there's not a lot of like weight to these kills for an R-rated movie. And I think that's one of my problems with the film too, because in slasher films, you expect like really visceral moments where you're like, oh my gosh. And it's been used to great effect on other films of this caliber. But here, the kills were either paced too poorly or they didn't have enough depth to them, where I didn't really care about what was happening. And I lost interest halfway through. But echoing a lot of what Derrick, Martin, and even Thomas said here, just a really, really ridiculous experience. And it's one that I would say, if you're interested in seeing or experiencing yourself, you got to at least once just to see what the hype is about.
If you really want to suffer, a double feature, the original and the new one.
It's a rough day.
If you want to suffer, watch the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
That's true. You do have to.
And then apparently there was a third straight to DVD one, which
there was. I Will Always Know What You Did
bad.
Last Summer.
And then I also just learned, because I saw a fan cam for the TV show. There was a TV show in 2021, and I was like, oh, the TV show has lesbians. And I started looking up, and then I was like, oh no, the TV show is like real bad. So I was like, I'll just seems like I Know What You Did Last Summer is not for me.
I am dumbfounded that someone thought that this story could sustain a television show. Like,
Amazon Prime, girl.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense now. Never mind. I take it back. Of course, Amazon Prime tried to do this.
Yes, of course they did. I feel like, you know, with a movie like this, I feel like a segment of this conversation should be about the reveal. But like, do we have more to say about the reveal? Is there anything about the reveal that is any different than what we've said about this movie?
Not really, because it's like this girl was like, or Stevie, I think is the character. She's like, oh, y'all let him die. You said you wanted to go to when I thought we were going to the police station. Like, girl, didn't you just say that like you're getting your shit together and like you admitting to causing this accident is going to get you in trouble? But then you find out it's your friend who's coming to save you. If he was coming to save you, why is he speeding on this road? If he saw this car on the side and these people on the road, he would have slowed down for them and been like, hey, Stevie, leave these people and come back with me, kind of like. And they set up this interesting thing with this cult church and then did nothing with it. And I was like, okay. Oh, you cut out the pastor's eyes out. That's cool. Wish I got to see it. Like,
right.
And it was just.
Derrick, please explain the scene
together. Or how did she do this all by herself? Yeah, obviously she didn't. Like, you can tell when a movie's setting up, it's going to be a 2-killer thing. And you get that pretty early on that one of the people in the friend group is going to be a killer as well. So it's like, ooh, which one is it going to be? Well, process of elimination. It's obviously going to be the chick that wasn't part of the friend group. And then magically a year later is like intertwined with Madeline Klein.
Yeah, obviously. Derrick, please explain the scene that you had a massive problem with.
Oh my God. Okay. So not only is all of Marty's illogical explanation completely sound, because that is basically how this movie operates, and he eloquently described its absolute nonsensical operation because it just functions so clumsily. But there's this sent me into an absolute, because like, so I'd already figured it out. I already knew who both killers were, and there is a scene towards the end where it is Stevie and Freddie Prinze Jr. They are the only two on screen, and Stevie is freaking out because she can't get a hold of her friends, and she can't get a hold of someone who they have already fucking murdered. She is freaking out about not being able to get a hold of someone they have already murdered together, who is sitting in the back of a car, which means that this conversation between two killers is for us, the audience, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's not a fourth wall break. It's completely within, like, contained within this scene. And then he's like, don't worry, Stevie, I'll never let anything happen to it. And I almost out loud, I was just like, who the fuck is this for?
It feels like that scene was written in case they decided to do like a Scream 3 and like cut the girl killer and just have the one killer. And then they decided, oh, no, we're going to do both. So cut the one scene that you made in case she's not a killer.
Yeah, right. I couldn't believe it. Like, the movie already doesn't make sense, but this just made it like 10 times worse.
Yeah, Mitchell, is there something you wanted to say about that?
Not about that reveal specifically. I just think in the reveal in general, whether advertently or inadvertently, I feel like Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wooden acting ability really gave it away in the scene where they're confronting each other on the boat. And he's like, you should have come to me. And I'm like, oh, well, this guy's already suspicious, but that just solidified my reasoning. But I did expect it to not be just the friend in the friend group. I really did think there was going to be another person all along. I just was trying to figure out who it was going to be. But as it got closer to the end and the process of elimination kind of limited down, I'm like, okay, there's only like a few realistic options this movie can go towards, unless it goes off the walls crazy, then anything sticks. But if it was going to go a grounded approach, I feel like it really cornered itself in a way where you could probably guess if you wanted to.
Yeah, I actually think it probably would have made more sense if one, to Marty's point, like just make the decision and make that a part of the editing process. Like, just for the love of God, tell your editor what you're actually doing and where the film should end up, so they know what scenes to cut and which ones to include. Just talk to your editor; it's okay. But I actually think, because to Mitchell's point of just how wooden his acting is and how far it like gives the reveal, it would have made more sense if you would have just gone full screen and just had most of the ending end up on the boat. And instead of him doing the whole like, oh, you should have come to me, I'm going to shoot you, like it could have just been all up front. They do it in Scream and they do it really effectively, right? With Maggie Madison's character, where like he should have just shot Madeline Klein. And like Madeline Klein's the only one that falls off the boat. And then they take Sue Wonder back to the bar because that's where they're going to kill her. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up and they together take both of the killers out. Like that to me just makes more sense. And it allows you to develop and dig a little bit deeper into the reveal. So it doesn't feel as clunky. But the way that it does, it just feels really clunky. Freddie Prinze Jr. is not doing any favors and really just muddling this whole thing and making it worse. So then by the time we get back to the bar, it's like, yeah, guys, we know. Like we are there is no third, second, fourth reveal. And even the way that Jennifer Love Hewitt figures it out, it's like we're already ahead of the game. Like we already know, it's already been revealed to us. Why are you revealing something everybody in this movie already knows and everybody in the audience knows? And again, it's just that clunky, awful editing and storytelling where it's just, why is Jennifer Love Hewitt the last person to find out that Stevie and her ex or whatever have this relationship? Like we figured that out an hour into the movie because
also,
they fucking told us.
Why is there a news article about it being Stevie when they just got back to
Oh my
the
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't there,
I was so confused about that. Like, wait, what's happening? Wait.
The next day, it just feels like so many of the writing is like, our audience is really fucking dumb. Yeah. Like, it's like the studio said, like, your audience is really dumb. So you're going to need to put a lot of extra detail in here. It's like when you're in like a writing 101 class in college and they're just like, most audiences are not going to be paying attention or they're going to be on their phone. So you really have to pound in what's going on here. And I was like, okay.
It's incredibly patronizing, but also incredibly clunky because it's not even done well. Like I picked up on that, like I said, in the first 10 minutes of the movie where they're just like hyper explaining everything. And I'm just like, gosh, y'all. Oh man. Well, I think that we have covered this pretty thoroughly. I'm ready for final scores. Derrick, we're gonna start with you. What's your final score here?
Yeah, this is gonna be. I'm gonna do. This is gonna be a 2 out of 5. I will give it at least 2 just for some of the things I really like. And I can't give anything a half star. Where like this whole movie really should just be a half star, but I can't do that when you do have such an exquisite Nicole Kidman reference. Like that is just overcoming so much because it's so good and it filled me with so much joy. So yeah, this is a 2 out of 5.
That's funny. Marty, what's your score here?
I'm going to be polite as well and give it a 2 out of 5 because there were a few elements that I liked. I could totally see if the script was reran and they were like, no, like let's elevate it up a little bit or something. I feel like it really could have, like she had the potential a little bit. So I'm going to be polite and give it a 2 out of 5.
Very, very gratuitous. That's nice. Mitchell, what's your final score?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change from last evening where I had solid like 1 star. I would bump it to a 1.5 out of 5 stars. If you really want to suffer, do what I did and do an inadvertent Smurfs and I Know What You Did Last Summer double feature, and you might die. I did mentally. So yeah, that was fun. But also, I just think this movie has a lot going for it at certain segments, but it just doesn't come together in anything meaningful. The reaction when the movie ended and the audience stood up pretty much mirrors my own, where everyone was just like, "What? What was that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I feel that too. So I'd say if you're a fan of this series, you can do probably much worse by not checking it out or checking it out if you want to. So I think audiences just need to kind of set their mindset to the right one in order to join in this one.
I think we should have had your.
Mitchell's out here doing the Lord's work, by the way. Like
It
that man
really is.
he is shouldering cinema all by himself. That is a hellish double feature. Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Good on you for braving that. I'm going to be entirely honest. If it wasn't for this podcast, I would have walked out of this movie. And in fact, me, my husband, and a friend of ours went, and she did leave halfway through. She just had better things to do, and I absolutely do not blame her. It's funny because it actually got marginally better after she left, but not enough to where it's like, oh, you really missed something. Like, I think we were all fine with like our experiences, I suppose. And yeah, I probably would have walked out of this one. And that leads me to a very unfortunate like 1 star. I think I would probably do like 1.25. I think one of the things, if I was to speculate, I think the thing that keeps this franchise alive is the imagery of a killer and a hook in a slicker outfit. I think there is something very artistic about framing that in this kind of horror thing, and I think this movie actually does that really well. Even the hallway scene, which is ridiculous, it's still really menacing to see that kind of villain. And so would I have liked more of that imagery? Absolutely, that would have been great, guys, because it's the one thing you got going for you. But ultimately, I think there's so much that's clunky about the production and the storytelling and the intentions. It just did not work for me. I would have walked out. It's at like a 1 star for me. Sorry, y'all.
don't apologize for rating a bad movie bad. Like, that's okay.
Right.
I feel you about the wanting to walk out. I didn't even know there was a mid-credit scene until y'all said, because I was like, literally, the movie ended, I groaned, and I like walked out of the theater.
Oh, I would have too. Someone told me that there was a mid-credit scene. And so actually someone told my husband, who told me that there's a mid-credit scene. I would have just been done after that. Especially knowing that the mid-credit scene like teases the movie I actually wanted.
Yeah, with Brandy coming back. Like, damn, I miss Brandy. The one thing I was hoping to see.
The only reason I even stayed for the mid-credit scene is because I actually did a much better double feature than Mitchell. And I did this, and then I did Eddington directly after it. Which, regardless of how you feel about the movie, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was probably better than Smurfs.
100%.
So, but for like that movie didn't start right away. So like I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I was just sitting there dumbfounded by what I just watched. And then I was like pulling up Letterboxd to like start my Letterboxd review because I had time. And then I like stumbled upon the mid-credit scene. I wasn't even sitting there to watch it. And then I was like, oh shit, wait, there's more.
Mid-credit scenes need to die. If you're not doing your little superhero movie, mid-credit scene over. I like
honestly,
the one, but it didn't need to be a mid-credit scene. Just put it at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Even superhero movies can stop mid-credit scenes now. I think James Gunn did a pretty decent one with Superman. Ryan Coogler wins mid-credit scenes. Okay, like if you're not doing that, we don't need it. I don't need a setup for another movie.
30-second thing that really adds nothing to your film.
Yeah. I actually really like Coogler's approach to making the mid-credit scene an epilogue conclusion. Like that just was masterful. Otherwise, guys, I don't need mid-credit scenes anymore. Like you're not making me read the credits. I'm not doing that. So if I need to get the credits, I'll go to IMDb.
Right. I'll do my own research. I do my own research. I put the name of the editor. I called her out by name in my review. Right. Like I do the research.
Oh man. Well, Derrick, Marty, Mitchell, thank you guys so much for joining me on this conversation about I Know What You Did Last Summer. Great conversation. And actually, this is going to be a fun weekend because Derrick is going to host the next conversation, which is about his beloved Eddington movie. He has lots of good things to say about that, and he's going to lead conversations with it on the next episode this weekend. So that's all for this week. We will see you guys next week on For Real.
Bye, divas.